For those who may not know you, beyond your formal titles, could you share a little bit more about who you are personally and what has shaped your journey in dental technology?
Um, Me personally. So I'm someone who I enjoy doing things for other people. Enjoy the reason I went into the NHS to do what I do is because I was working in a private lab and I just couldn't get my head around charging private prices for work that people just needed. So it's good, if people want a bit of extra bling, that's great. But for
Yeah.
me, the important thing was just to make sure, regardless of means, everyone's got a decent level of care at the point of need. So yeah, so that sort of shaped my journey into the NHS with dental technology. Actually, dental technology itself, I sort of fell into that by accident. So I've done lots of different things before I came into dental technology. I've done retail management. I've worked in manufacturing. I even did a milk round for a few days. I've done cleaning. I've done so many things. I'm just one of those people who, if I haven't got a job, I'll do any old job until I
Yeah.
find a job worth having. And then sometimes I like to be challenged. If I start to stagnate, I get frustrated. So I'd do certain jobs and I'd think, I'm not getting anywhere with this, or I feel like I've done it and I'm not moving forward. So then I've retrained in other things. And that's really what happened with dental technology. I was looking around for something different, something that came with training because I'd got a house and a young child at the time. And I found a lab that was literally about 3 streets away from me on an industrial estate that I never even knew that it existed. So I went round and had a look round and was just fascinated by all the different equipment and material. I was running around like a kid going, "Oh, what does this do? Oh, what does that do?" Which I found quite funny, to be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they employed me and I went to college 1 day a week and then I progressed and took that to BSc Honours as well. Um, and I just really enjoy the fact that we get to help people and we get to see people smile. It's a really life-changing profession. And I think sometimes, especially when you're in a private lab, you
Mhm.
don't get to have that same level of patient contact. You don't even get to see the clinicians as much and chat to them. And I think sometimes it can be easy to have that disconnect, whereas it's nice to remember that there is a patient and you are having a massive impact on their quality of life with what you do. So that's what I enjoy, and that's the reason I've stuck with this so far, because although everybody has good days and bad days at work and there's things we like and things we don't like, ultimately, you know, knowing that you're having such a massive impact on people's lives is just really satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And your topic of discussion for the conference is on the GDC's revised scope of practice. From your perspective, what is the most important changes dental technicians need to understand from this new revised scope?
I think the biggest thing to understand is that the scope of practice itself essentially hasn't changed. We're changing, or say we, I'm not a member of the GDC, I don't represent them at all. I've just been privileged enough to be involved in this work as it's unfolded with other groups. But this work has been about trying to remove some of the barriers, trying to modernize the way it's looked at and utilized rather than just a set prescriptive list, which it was never intended to be, actually allowing dental professionals within their role, the scope of their role, to actually use their professional judgment sometimes and be that bit more flexible. So I think it's a lot of people think maybe there are big changes. There aren't changes, there's just clarifications, but taking away though that definition, that hard and fast list, I think is quite frightening for some people, and there are some people scaremongering about it as well. So that's why I want to be able to talk to people about it.
And do you think these clarifications are reflective of technological advancements, workforce pressures, safety considerations?
I think it's just modernizing the way that the profession works. Obviously, life is always changing, always progressing, always developing, and the GDC want their regulation to reflect that. They want to make sure that it's future proofed.
Yeah.
So we're not, every time there's a new development, they're not having to add or take something from the list, this prescriptive list, that it's designed in such a way that it encompasses what we do as that grows and develops, regardless of the technology or materials used.
Right. And also, given the digital dentistry acceleration and like complex workflows, how does the revised code better align with the modern laboratory that you're seeing?
Allows us to modify the way we work to fit the new technologies. It gives us scope to use our professional judgment more, have more of those informed conversations with people, actually be an authority and feel confident in being authority on, what are our levels of expertise, when it comes to the technology, when it comes to the materials, when it comes to the processes and just the knowledge of how all those come together.
Okay. And from my research calls, a lot of the comments from dental labs and dental technicians is the current workforce shortages in dental technology. Do you think this revised scope is an opportunity to strengthen professional recognition and career progression?
I think the workforce issue is something that's been on the horizon for a very long time. COVID had a significant impact on that. Hopefully, as we modernize the way we work and the regulation around it, it
Mhm.
will allow people to feel more valued and respected professionals. And hopefully, it will allow us to bring other people into the profession that wouldn't necessarily have thought of it as a pathway for them in the
Yeah.
past.
And would you say AI, the acceleration of AI, has impacted the decrease in professionals in dental technology, or do you think it's a bonus that we should enhance it?
I think it's technology that's going to be around for a long time, whether we want it or not. So we need to embrace it and
Mhm.
utilize it fully. All industries are being affected by it. If we choose to ignore it and not engage with it, we will get left behind by it. So we are much better getting our heads around it, figuring out the best way to utilize it and manipulating it to the benefit of the profession and our patients, really. It is changing the way that we work. It's simplifying a lot of workflows, and that does worry quite a few people, I think, within dental technology, because there's always suppliers, manufacturers, etc., trying to cut the lab out of the workflow. So they're trying to put in systems and equipment in place where the dentist can just make stuff chairside. They can
Right.
scan a patient, they can print it out chairside, they can fit it and skip the lab. So that is a genuine concern for a lot of labs as well. So that could potentially have an impact on our workload going forward. It may be in some respects a good thing that we have got a declining workforce, so if we change the way we work, we might not need as many people to be able to offer out the same volume of work, which will be good. So again, it all depends on how you look at it. There's so many different ways. If you're skeptical, you'll see the bad stuff and you'll say, oh, it's going to do us out of a job. If you're someone who's excited about it and embrace it, you can really find a niche for you and a way in for it.
And how important is the collaboration between the dentist and the technician?
Oh, it's just critical. It's critical. Without effective communication between both parties, it just makes the dentist's work harder. It makes our work harder. It means decreased satisfaction with the patient for the appliance. So if we get good quality work from the clinic with a good level of communication, whether that be written or verbal, that will give the lab the best opportunity to provide the best possible quality of work back. If they're confident with their communication with the dentist or CDT, whoever sent that work through, if they want to question something, they can always, if they can get in touch with them and have an informed and respectful discussion, then that makes things so much better as well. So for example, if we get something in and we look at it, if the scan's not the right quality or whatever, then if we get back and just say, look, we can't do X because this isn't good enough, could you please redo it? If we say, actually, you've sent this design through, but looking at, the models, we think potentially this might be better if you considered this design or that design. The technicians need to be confident in their knowledge, and the dentists need to be confident in the technician's knowledge as well, and knowing that we both have our strengths, and if we work together, we get the best outcome for the patient. Because the dentist ultimately wants an appliance making for the patient. They want that appliance to come back fit first time, patient to be happy, out the door. The best way to do that is for everyone to work together as a team, understanding each other's strengths. And this is where the scope comes in, because it's all good and well me just understanding my scope, but if I don't understand the scope of the other dental professionals within the team, how can we communicate effectively? How can we play to each other's strengths and work together as a team? So that's also, and that is part of the revised guidance around the scope, is making sure that people take the time to understand what other people's scope is and how to effectively utilize the team, because we've got a crisis within NHS dentistry, and really in order to do the best we can with the resources we've got, we need to make sure we maximize the skills within the entire team so we can get patients treated by whichever professional is the most appropriate for them.
Yeah. And when you think about the next decade, what is your vision for dental technicians and the wider field of dental technology?
I think it's just going to continue to go more and more digital. I think it's exciting in some ways, a little bit scary for some in other ways. It's going to be interesting to see how the technology changes. I mean, it seems for denture work, it seems quite simple because we've got more and more machines which are able to print out different materials all in one, so you can print a denture out, but you still need the artistry for people to tint it up and make it look a bit more real. With Crown and Bridge, I know there's a lot of milling involved in that, printing stuff out, but again, they still need the artistry for people to tint it up and make it look real. Within orthodontics, we have a lot of moving parts. So we're still basically printing out models and working on that and creating appliance on that model. So I would like to see what the technology is going to do so we can actually print out an appliance without the model, without printing out single-use plastic. Every time we print out a model, it's single-use plastic. We're supposed to be trying to save the planet, and we're creating more. Well, gypsum was 100% recyclable. This plastic just is not. It's all, and it drives me crackers. But I don't also want to think that every orthodontic appliance is just going to be some pressure formed something or other. So it'd be interesting to see if the technology comes along where we can actually print out more moving parts and integrate them into the base plate, because I think that's it. At the moment we can print out a base plate. There are technologies where we can print out appliances where it has got moving parts, but to actually have those combined together and printed out as one, I think is the big challenge. So I think it's an exciting time, and we will be working more and more in the 3D environment, and it is going to, for decades, dental technology did not change. Like I was doing my training in the early 2000s, and the textbooks from the 60s and 70s were still relevant.
Oh, wow.
There was basically one material, like vulcanite, pretty much, that wasn't used anymore, and maybe shellac was on its way out, but that was literally it. Almost everything was still the same. It was just bizarre in a way to think that nothing had moved on.
Nothing has changed,
And so, yeah, some people say, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix
But I'm
it.
like, where's the progress? And then all of a sudden, digital technology started coming in. So not only have we got this new workflow with the scanning and the digital environment, but also a whole new raft of new materials that we need to actually produce that. So it's just changed everything all at. So going from like practically zero change to a massive amount of change in a very short space of time is it's quite a massive step. So yeah, I
When
think
would
it's
you say the
exciting.
change happened?
Sorry, say that again.
When would you say the shift started happening?
When?
Yeah.
I think so it's been like a little bit of a gradual creep, as is always the case when there's a new technology. It's usually very expensive. Not many people can afford it. Some people think, oh, it's not going to really take off. Like people didn't think computers were going to be a thing. When I was at school, my teachers were like, oh no, this is just a fad.
Yeah. They were all using them.
Yeah, they were trying to teach us how to use computers. They didn't know themselves. We spent an entire lesson figuring out why this one wouldn't turn on and someone had not switched the plug on or something crazy. So yes, I think there was a little bit of that at first. So you got some people who were a bit excited, got the money to spend, who'd try it out. And then as the technology develops, the price comes down, as with a lot of things, and makes it a bit more accessible for people. So I think really that sort of balance started coming into play maybe more obviously sort of 5-6 years ago, when more and more people were starting to take a chance and think, actually, this might be here to stay. I need to get to grips with it. Let's start investing and playing about. And then it's just growing so quickly. As soon as you buy the technology, it's basically out of date already.
It needs to be replaced already. Yeah.
Yeah. You try and future proof, but you can only do that within your financial means as well. But yeah, I do. Yeah, then all of a sudden it goes from sort of 0 to 100 miles an hour, doesn't it? And everything's moving so quickly. So yeah, it's exciting times. I like change. I like trying new things.
Some people are scared of the change.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work, doesn't mean the old stuff's gone away. You could still step back
It's
and go,
still
you know
there.
what, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Step back, keep maybe aspects of it that we liked, or just try something different. But if you don't try, you never know, do you?
And why do you think it's important to bring your topic on the GDC revised scope to the audience in Birmingham? And what do you want them to take away from it? And how do you want them to feel? And how do you want them to implement that? after your session?
I think it will just be good to have a forum where I can help outline what the GDC's intentions were, what has changed. And like I say, essentially the scope itself's not changed, but those lines have been blurred. So trying to explain to people, because it's a very weird and confusing concept. So just trying to explain that, but be able to have a conversation in a room full of people, to be able to have that conversation. And whenever you have a conversation, you're not just having a conversation with one person, because all the other people are listening. So even those people who's afraid or embarrassed to speak up can sit and listen to the answers, and it can generate conversations as they go. I want people to be able to come, voice their concerns, ask any questions. I'll answer whatever I can based on my knowledge of the process that we've been through and whereabouts it's all at. But I want them to be able to go away and feel more confident with the scope, not feel so intimidated or worried about it, and actually just feel empowered to be able to start doing a little bit more, and pushing the boundaries slightly more and using their professional judgment, and which will ultimately really just enrich what they do. So yeah, that's what I would like, because there's a lot of people out there who are good at, people who always believe the bad thing. There could be 20 good things. Someone will say one thing, whether it's true or not, that sounds like a bad thing. Everyone will just panic and believe the bad thing, and they'll forget about the good things, because that's just human nature. People just so, and there's been a little bit of that online, a little bit of scaremongering, or a little bit of misunderstandings. So yeah, to be able to sort of address that and help to clarify and maybe reassure some people, I think would be what my ultimate aim.
And do you anticipate any further regulatory changes in the future? And should technicians be prepared for new changes coming up?
I don't believe the GDC are planning on it making any big sweeping changes. They want to try and ensure that the scope and the descriptors that we've got in place now have that flexibility to last us for a few more years. They don't want to be having to revise it every couple of years and rewrite everything, because one, it would just be a constant ongoing thing, which is a pain in the bum for everybody. But also, it's expensive, and this is our money. We don't want to be spending this money on just getting them just being in constant meetings about what we're going to change next. And they want to get on with other stuff rather than doing that. So yeah, they, as far as I'm aware, and like I say, I'm not a member of the GDC, as far as I'm aware, and based on what they've said, there's not going to be any huge changes soon. They're just trying to make sure what we've got is suitable for the next few years going ahead.
Great. And Andrea, is there anything else you'd like to share? Any last words before you share your presentation at the Birmingham show?
Just that I'm excited to see everybody. I want as many people to come as possible. We always get incredible amount of footfall at the DTS for technicians, and it's an amazing place for people to come and chat and network. So yeah, just to encourage people to come along, come and ask any questions about the subject that I'm talking about, if they want, whether that'll be while I'm giving the talk or afterwards. Come find me on the Dentex stand and chat to me about it there, but just come along, have a look around, enjoy networking, meeting some of the other traders, and having any of those informed sort of conversations. Bring your questions and bring your enthusiasm.
Great, thank you.